This is the Synthetic Signal Report for Sunday, March 22nd, 2026, in the afternoon. Today's analysis examines the critical security failures within the OpenClaw autonomous agent framework, the refusal of GrapheneOS to comply with emerging age verification mandates, and the technical mechanics of Flash-Moe, which is now running 397 billion parameter models on consumer laptops. We also track the escalating energy infrastructure threats in the Persian Gulf following the Trump ultimatum, the spread of the CanisterWorm malware across the NPM ecosystem, and a high-severity breach in self-hosted Langflow instances. Finally, we look at under-the-radar developments in protein annotation from the Arc Institute and early schizophrenia detection at UCSF. The OpenClaw framework, designed to facilitate autonomous AI agents, has been identified as a significant security risk. Analysts describe the system as a daydream for developers that has turned into a nightmare for security teams. The core issue lies in how OpenClaw handles tool execution and external integrations. It lacks robust sandboxing, allowing agents to execute arbitrary code on the host system under certain conditions. This is particularly dangerous when agents are given access to live web data or untrusted third-party APIs. A specific technical failure involves the way OpenClaw processes nested commands. If an agent is prompted to perform a multi-step task that involves writing and then executing a script, the framework does not adequately validate the safety boundaries of that script. This allows for full-shell access by a remote actor who can influence the agent's prompt. For organizations deploying OpenClaw to automate internal workflows, the current architecture provides a direct path for attackers to move from a chat interface to deep lateral movement within a corporate network. In an update to the morning coverage of age verification in core operating systems, GrapheneOS has officially refused to comply with new legislative requirements. While projects like systemd are integrating birth date fields to meet laws in California and Colorado, GrapheneOS maintains that such features are antithetical to their privacy-first mission. The developers stated that the operating system will never require or store personal identifying information. This creates a significant friction point between privacy-focused software and government regulation. GrapheneOS is an Android fork that prioritizes hardware-based security and data minimization. By refusing to implement age gating at the setup level, the project is positioning itself as a sanctuary for users who reject the increasing de-anonymization of the mobile web. However, this may lead to legal challenges or potential bans in jurisdictions where age verification is becoming a mandatory requirement for device manufacturers and software distributors. The Flash-Moe project has achieved a milestone in local inference, successfully running a 397 billion parameter model on a laptop with limited memory. This is a follow-up to previous reports on local model efficiency. Flash-Moe utilizes a specialized implementation of the mixture of experts architecture. Instead of keeping the entire model in active memory, it dynamically swaps expert weights in and out of the unified memory of the processor. The technical breakthrough involves reducing the latency of these memory swaps. By optimizing the data path between the storage and the graphics cores, Flash-Moe allows a laptop to process complex queries with the same depth as a server-grade cluster. This effectively democratizes frontier-level intelligence, removing the requirement for expensive cloud subscriptions or massive power-hungry rigs. This shift suggests that the moat held by large-scale compute providers is rapidly evaporating as inference algorithms become more efficient. Project Nomad is gaining traction as a critical tool for digital sovereignty. It is an under-the-radar development designed to ensure that human knowledge remains accessible even during total network blackouts. Unlike traditional offline archives, Project Nomad uses a peer-to-peer gossiping protocol to synchronize data between devices without a central server. The system focuses on high-density technical and medical data, allowing communities to maintain a functional knowledge base during the digital outages currently seen in regions like Moscow. This is a signal from the future because it represents a move away from the client-to-server model that dominates the modern internet. Project Nomad ensures that the most vital information is stored physically on local nodes, making it immune to state-level internet kill switches or satellite failures. The geopolitical situation in the Middle East has entered a dangerous new phase. Following an ultimatum from President Trump, Iran has threatened to irreversibly destroy the energy infrastructure of the Persian Gulf. The ultimatum demanded that Tehran reopen the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours or face the obliteration of its domestic power plants. The technical concern for global markets is the vulnerability of desalination plants and oil refineries in the region. Iranian officials claim they have prepositioned assets capable of targeting the cooling systems of major facilities, which would cause long-term structural damage. This standoff has sent global energy markets into a period of extreme volatility, as the Strait of Hormuz remains the world's most critical choke point for oil and liquefied natural gas. The supply chain attack on the Trivy vulnerability scanner has escalated. A self-spreading worm, identified as CanisterWorm, has now infected 47 separate NPM packages. This began on March 19th, when a threat actor used compromised credentials to modify the Trivy action system on GitHub. The worm works by scanning the environment where Trivy is running and looking for other package manager files. It then attempts to inject its own malicious code into those projects. While the maintainers of Trivy, Itai Shakuri and the Aqua security team, have removed the malicious artifacts and pointed the latest releases to a safe version, the follow-on attacks are still spreading through secondary dependencies. This highlights a fundamental rot in the automated trust models used by modern developers. For those who self-host Langflow for AI orchestration, there is an urgent need to update. A critical remote code execution flaw, which is unauthenticated, was exploited within 20 hours of its discovery. Attackers are currently using this vulnerability to harvest API keys from live instances. Because Langflow is often used to connect various AI models and databases, a compromise of the platform provides an attacker with the keys to the kingdom for an organization's entire AI stack. The Arc Institute has introduced BioReason-Pro, a system targeting the vast majority of proteins that currently lack experimental annotations. This is a signal from the future because it uses generative AI to predict the function and structure of dark proteins that have remained a mystery to biologists. In the medical field, UCSF scientists are reporting progress in detecting the earliest biological markers of schizophrenia. By identifying these signals years before a clinical diagnosis, the goal is to shift toward preventative neuromedicine rather than reactive treatment. The community is currently buzzing about Driver Shield, a new platform for analyzing Windows kernel drivers for bring-your-own vulnerable driver attack patterns. Over 200 drivers have already been processed through their inspection pipeline. Chatter is also heavy regarding a series of stack-based buffer overflows in tender routers, specifically the F453 and FH451 models. These flaws allow for remote command execution through the web management interface. In the Monero community, there is a strong focus on the resilience of Haveno, which is processing $2 million in monthly volume despite the closure of older peer-to-peer desks. Finally, WordPress users are urged to update the Ultimate WordPress Toolkit to fix a high-severity privilege escalation vulnerability that affects the menu editor module.